So we've got a tractor.
Okay.
We've
We've got a tractor. We've got pretty much everything that we need. I spent like an extra 20 minutes last time just plunking everything down, and now I forget what I specifically need to work on. So,
well, this is a medium planet, right?
yes, I think so.
Okay. So
Yeah,
my
'cause
trick
that's-
is just trying
that's
to
the
like
moon over
hook
there.
up the batteries over to just the tractor and bringing it directly to
To this?
bringing it directly to this is not going to work out so great, is it?
Interesting question. I actually don't know that one.
Let's see. Did I leave my soil canister for you?
I think
Or
you
did
might
I-
have.
Die.
I think you
Well,
left it for me
Okay.
because I didn't have one.
Right.
Here, let's
Fortunately,
get you one.
there's resin right on the ground here, so I'm just not resin. Is it resin? Yeah, resin. So I'm just gonna make a small canister.
I guess I took your canister alongside mine. Or no, maybe you left it behind because I thought I had to. I don't know.
I don't
I
remember either.
Yeah, it's been 1 week and I've been very busy.
What's been going on?
Let's see. So, I've actually been trying to tone down the amount of like streaming I did for the week because there were no new releases for the last like 3 weeks, for the most part. So I've just been kind of doing my own thing for a while, which has actually been quite nice.
What do you mean by doing your own thing? Like just that you're
Writing,
still recording?
editing.
Okay.
So I edited together a video on games called Parkosaurus, which is like Zoo Tycoon. But the point of the game is you've got dinosaurs instead, and there we go. I realized I didn't have music going. So I did a run of the game without a single dinosaur. And tried to get a 5-star park, you know, without... Wow, my small wind turbine is losing its mind.
This is a windy planet? Is that true?
Well, no, it's... sorry, it's the backpack crafting menu. It's jittering like crazy.
Oh yeah, I've been having that too. It didn't strike me the first time I was playing, but it's been there since then, so...
Yep.
I don't know what's up with that.
So you're allowed to backseat. No.
What is backseat? Backseat drive?
Backseating is when people tell me what to do.
Oh, I see. I
And...
mean, they can say what they want to do. We may or may not do it.
No, I don't like that precedent.
Okay.
Because then it's just everybody telling me what to do. And that
see.
actually gets real bad. So, like, anytime I'm playing anything with strategy, sandbox stuff, slightly unclear mechanics, or anytime at all, I will just start having people start telling me exactly what I should be doing at any point in time, or telling me to, you know, do something slightly differently, or just to do something that I'm not willing to do. And that starts to become quite onerous. And so it's like, well, yes, I can't necessarily stop it the first time. I can prevent somebody from continuing to do so. Main reason is, like, a lot of the backseating I get is very... I'm going to say unnecessary. It's oftentimes like, it's oftentimes really basic stuff that I already know, or have already done, or it's browbeating me for not doing something. So I was playing Creeper World 4, which is super good game, tower defense game that I've been kind of lazy about covering for years. And I straight up say, like, in the video, what? Why did you do that?
I was in the menu for the soil centrifuge, and something showed up on my screen, and then I clicked, and then it didn't affect the thing.
Okay, I was just like,
Affected that.
do you
so
not
I,
want me to make a tall platform? Because that's
No,
fine.
I don't even know what I did precisely, other than I clicked didn't register, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that clipped through whatever Wander was trying to do. And the answer is
Yeah,
yes. And it led
you
to a
just
very
yoinked
different
the small
conclusion.
printer, and I was so confused.
You know, it's funny because it only showed up when you were trying to like make something that occluded it. So I think it was the tall platform, right?
Yeah.
So I just clicked where it was before, which was just, I think, on the tall platform. So it was not even on the printer itself.
But so I was playing I was playing Creeper World 4, which super good game. Really enjoyed it. But I said as part of it, hey, I'm not going to use this because the developer added it to make it easier for like other people, and I don't actually need like a handicap because I got this. And I have like 7 comments on the video being like, why didn't you use the thing? And I'm like,
You know, for those I've seen, people have had some success with titling the video as part of the challenge, right?
I have done that.
I mean, I assume that won't stop everyone, but
I straight up
feel
had
like...
I straight up had a video once called like No Lighthouse Challenge, and all of the comments were, why aren't you using lighthouses? Unironically. Because some other YouTuber had like recently used a bunch of lighthouses, and everybody just like, he's not using lighthouses for some reason. I'm like, oh no, not this.
Yeah. I mean, I think you gotta ignore those, but I do understand that you're saying, I don't want to set the precedent for a stream. But that's different from the comment sections, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just as bad
with
with stream.
sense.
I was finishing up Creeper World 3, and we had to turn chat to subscriber only mode because people were relentless, and like no one was saying anything apart from telling me what to do, and it was just like, yeah,
Okay.
that's the limit.
That makes sense, because you're trying to foster a particular kind of community engagement, and you don't
Backseating
need...
is anti-community
backseating.
engagement.
That makes sense, because right, and that also emphasizes kind of the connection between you and everyone else, rather than having some sort of discussion or something like that.
Yep. And I also never had the little brother experience of like, you know how there's like the classic example of like the younger sibling that's like telling you what to do and it's kind of obnoxious, and you just hand them the disconnected controller and just kind of let them pretend they're playing to placate them. I
was too
never
close
had
to
that.
age for you to like.
And you
fool
were also
me that
generally
easily.
better than me, so it was like I'm straight up not in the mindset or like mental place to be okay with that kind of behavior, because I had 20 some odd years without that in the slightest.
But we don't want to deny my role as still being the annoying younger brother. We just want to emphasize that it came in a different
If
format.
that's the case, you're doing a
stereotype.
terrible job of it.
You don't think there were sometimes, when I think back to annoying younger brother moments, I think there were sometimes I would intentionally annoy you while you were playing games that were single player because I wanted you to play with me, and you were sucked into those games. I acknowledge my role in sometimes trying to influence your behavior by pulling the annoying younger brother thing in that circumstance. Does that just not come to mind, or was it just never that?
Oh, sorry. I just got really distracted remembering us beating Lord of the Rings Return of the King with Faramir.
Oh, that was so good.
I think back to that often as like peak cheese, and I kind of miss it.
I think the thing that was funny about that was that we were literally cheating to like have access to Faramir at that particular point in the game.
Oh, 100%.
But we weren't cheating because we still had to fight Golem. We just got to do it with Faramir as the second player instead of Samwise Gamgee.
Which was so nice.
I think, I think it was pretty funny partially because like it was just kind of, you'd never really had like Frodo or Sam with one of the other Lord of the Rings characters, but like that moment really hit home. Like, no, like you really are much weaker when you're not like Faramir or Legolas. Like Sam and Frodo really are quite a bit less powerful, which I think to me had seemed likely, but you just don't get that direct, like it's not obvious.
Yep.
Until that moment. But it was also just hilarious to watch this man who is just like twice the size of Frodo and Golem just like wailing on Golem.
It was so perfect.
This isn't fair, is it?
Nope. But it was satisfying. Let's see. Non-backseating, question of why don't we use more storage platform types? And the answer is lack of resources.
We'll get there,
Primarily. Yeah. Somebody was saying I should mess with the storage silo. And I will admit I had like totally forgotten about it.
There is a thing that does the thing we've been wanting, but we just don't do it.
Here it
because...
is. Medium storage silo. Oh, the reason why I haven't messed with it is because it requires 2 titanium. But it looks like it's probably worth it.
What's it?
As it's just a tall pillar of single storage slots. So I don't think we're on the right planet for titanium. I think we're on the other planet. But if we had this, we could just fill a ship with infinite amounts of resources.
Okay, that makes sense for planet kind of
Hopping.
moving
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah. I finally remembered why I was here. To do science.
Like trying very avidly to flatten our base, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. I keep like finding a new level to work off of. It's like this is the new gold standard for flat.
True
And
level.
then I try and flatten the whole base, and then I ended up with like 3 or 4 different.
This is just like being really picky about it, right? There's
Oh,
no like.
incredibly so.
Okay.
There's 0 benefit at this point, but I can't stop.
Have you watched Rick and Morty at all?
No, I haven't.
I don't want to recommend it, but there are a few good moments in it that like this particular moment really harkens back to, and that there's a point where like Morty like levels something for Rick, and Rick says like, "Whoa, this is unacceptable. Like you're using like these primitive tools," and Morty was using like the classic like leveler thing, and Rick does some like sciencey stuff to like make an even more level thing and lets Morty stand on it, and Morty's initially skeptical, but then apparently it's this just like kind of world-changingly pleasurable experience to stand on something that is truly a level surface.
Huh.
I mean, like, you know, obviously that's like not a real thing.
Yeah.
But it does make for a good moment in a character having this like strong opinion and it just seeming ridiculous.
Rick and Morty was one of those shows where I didn't hear about it until kind of after it had already gotten popular, and at that point it was too popular, and the fan base was like, I wasn't cool with them.
I think what's funny to me is how the creators of Rick and Morty aren't totally cool with some of the behaviors of their fan base as well.
I mean, that's true of quite a lot of like different series where they're just like, yeah, we didn't really intend for anybody to be like this. This is kind of a bit too much.
So that in the most recent season, they actually had an episode specifically that like made fun of the most toxic like elements of their fan base. Where they created a character called Story Lord who like kind of, I guess, encapsulates that sort of backseat narration.
On wind, come back. I need you for things. Yeah, I could see that.
Let's see, we don't have an easy way to get aluminum other than just digging down into the ground, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because that's not part of the soil extractor.
Do you want me to make a mine?
No, I'll make the mine. You, unless you really want that mine.
At this point, I don't know what else I was gonna work on.
Oh, okay. There's actually a natural tunnel right over here, so you don't even need to start by digging.
Copper.
Yeah, I wanted more trailers for my tractor. I've got a one-track mind. A one-track mind, which is a multiple tractor objective. Yes. A multiple trailer objective too. A tractor for every world, a centipede of trailers for every tractor. Oh no. It turns out that you cannot drive through compound very easily in this very tight tunnel. Oh gosh. That's okay.
Is it bad?
Oh, at the end of the tunnel had a big drop off, and I was coming to take a look at it, and I just like accidentally fell down it. So that happened. But fortunately, for once, I did not die very far away from spawn, and I'm quite confident that I know how to find my body. So.
We've hit the point in this where I've given up playing and am now just obsessively smoothing.
You're just gonna smooth the planet. Are you gonna make a flat Earth?
I'm really curious. I'm sure somebody else has done this already, and I don't feel particularly motivated on my own. But I'm really curious if you could actually just smooth the entire planet into some kind of ridiculous, like, gosh.
So I think the thing I'd be most curious about is how exactly gravity in this world is determined. Because
it's probably just based on that core, like where you're oriented to it.
Right, exactly. It's probably not real gravity. It's probably just like radial gravity that's constant. Oh, I guess it gets lower as you get. It does get lower, right?
Yeah, so it's probably just radial gravity with, just a basic intensity.
It just would that be funny if you built a big tower and you found that at the top of that tower the gravity is higher. That would be interesting actually. I'd be really curious to see if that's the case.
That's an interesting question because it does get higher as we go out. I think. At least to a certain point. I can
see you're still smoothing up there because I could see your cursor on the ceiling just kind of going back and forth some.
Everything must be smooth.
I've actually ran into a very different issue in that I just fell into this tunnel, but I can't easily have my character point his flashlight upwards to where I want to look.
That's why I built a work light. We have some copper for it if you want to make one.
Yeah. I think I can see where it comes out. You're not in the tunnel, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay. So you've been, like, leveling off some of it, right?
Yes. Did I trap you down there?
Well, no. Fortunately, you brought some light along, so it became more obvious. But there's a big drop-off that, if you want to make a ramp down here, would not go unappreciated.
Already have. We just got it cleared out.
We? I think
I'm
doing some exploration.
You're doing something.
I found hematite.
Looks like this is iron?
That must be for iron. I was guessing based off the red tone that they at least got that right about it. Ooh,
what else have they gotten wrong about iron?
Chemistry question, though. Why is iron red like that? Or specifically rust, I guess.
I know it's oxidation, but...
yeah, but we think of oxidation like makes the rust like that. So, but it's like still a property of a lot of iron-based compounds have that red color. It turns out that it has to do with some complicated chemistry thing, so it's not actually such an easy.
Yeah, I was like, it's been over a decade since I took anything chemistry related.
Would you remember what a d orbital is? Do you remember transition metals having those? I think we barely talked about it in AP chemistry. It wasn't something they really explained very well until college after that too. So it turns out it has to do with transitions in the d orbitals.
Okay.
Which, whatever that is for an explanation.
I've heard worse.
Well, I think mostly I could get into the deep chemistry of what like orbitals are, but I suspect there might only be a subset of people who are really, really curious about that. And if you are curious, there are plenty of good online resources for this, so you don't need to listen to me when other people explain it pretty well. Instead, you get to hear me talk about how I've managed to very quickly get myself lost in this underground. Now, fortunately, Wanderbot brought some light, so... Oh, I figured out you can get your character to orient. Well, no, that doesn't really get the flashlight to go upwards. You can get it to kind of go a direction by having him mine something, though.
Sorry, I had to quickly make sure somebody was banned.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
So, speaking of community and stuff, I have a very low tolerance for people that are just like pointlessly rude, I guess. And so somebody showed up and was just like, how do you get the skin? And then started swearing at people when he didn't get like the best answer. And it's just like, yeah, I don't think I want you here.
You just immediately need the best answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't get people. I try. That's kind of one of those where it's like, this is supposed to be a chill hangout thing. The topic of like curating your community is I think a topic I'm going to bring up a little bit more, because I've already been doing it, but a lot of Twitch streamers and whatnot are being kind of chastised for not controlling their own community better. Which I think we did talk about a little last time we played.
We did, yeah. I think kind of the thing that's kind of interesting to me is that it seems like it's in a streamer's best interest. So I think thinking about it in terms of like that is certainly one way, but I think the other one is just your own mental health.
Yeah.
I think it's clear that you personally are happier when your community is a good community, that gets to be part of your community, and that like provides real value to you emotionally, which I think in turns you could keep putting it back towards business things, and I think that would be a legitimate way to look at it. But I think like ultimately part of the value of being a streamer is having a lot of agency about what your work is like.
Yep.
And having a community that you like being part of is like a pretty huge factor in how much people enjoy their work. So yeah, absolutely go for it, right?
Yeah. Because like that was one of the main reasons why I'd quit several series in the past, was that the community centered around the game was so unbelievably toxic that I was like, I just don't want you in my audience or anyone like you. And seeing as that is the prevalent, person that enjoys this specific game, I just, after a certain point, it was like, yeah, no, I'm just not going to play this game, because even though the numbers were good, it just wasn't worth it after a certain point.
I guess I was under the impression that competitive games can often be at least a
lot
little
of
bit more correlated with
strategy
that.
and puzzle games get bad too.
Puzzle games. Oh, that's
Yep.
interesting. So there's
Yeah,
all
so,
these
like
people playing Baba Is You who are just like really angry all the time. Or...
that's actually exactly it. I had to put a disclaimer in my Baba Is You series being like, yo, like, I don't have a whole lot of tolerance for people just being shitty about how we didn't solve the puzzle immediately. And like, I hate the word cringe. Like, you'd think, okay, cringe, whatever. But gosh, seeing it nowadays is just really real frustrating for me, because it's always just like,
is that because someone like looks at the way you're solving a puzzle not immediately and is judging you and uses cringe as a way of describing that experience?
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, after a certain point, I just hate seeing the word, because I know somebody's just using it to be snitty at me because I'm not good enough for their needs, tastes.
That's interesting. I mean, because part of it is you've never promised to be like... It's
No.
not like watching like a professional Sudoku player where like, part of their shtick is that they are really good at Sudoku, and then like, maybe it still is worth being nice to them, but I can understand why you might be more willing to hold them to a higher standard of that.
Yeah.
But to you, it's like, I think part of what you're trying to offer people is, I think ultimately that community in a very diverse set of games that you can.
I straight up name my like characters filthy casual when I play games.
Yeah.
Like, unironically, I just name it. I'm just like, I am a filthy casual.
I
This is
remember you
me
did that
owning
for
it.
Terraria when we did Journey Mode.
Yep,
but
that's it.
just, you always do that?
Not infrequently.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that's interesting to me about Baba Is You is that, like, my girlfriend and I worked through that one, and it took to get through everything pretty close to 40 hours. And
Yeah,
there
which is
must be
part of the
people who are
reason why.
faster than that, but like, that's not a fast puzzle game.
Nope. That's part of the reason why I ended up kind of dipping out on it. That and the fact that we moved across the country, and that just kind of ate all of our time. But it was one of those where it's just like, this is a kind of a fun game, but it's real long, it's very slow, it's hard to commentate over, and there is just like a small population that just refuses to enjoy this. And vocally so.
Do you think it's because they're looking for somebody who's just already solved everything, and they're
I
just
don't
like
know.
looking for puzzle solutions?
I guess. But, like, a lot of them have already solved it and talk about, like, I already know the solution. Watching you try and struggle to figure it out is so bad. And it's like,
you know,
wait,
it is
why
funny.
are you here?
Yeah, because I think ultimately, like, there's a weird part of that that's a little bit true in that, like, watching someone else spend 30 minutes trying to solve some of the, like, pretty challenging puzzles in that game probably is a little bit harder when, like, you already know how to solve it. But at the same time, I think your point of like, why are you there then? It's like, well, like, is this is this something you could really expect someone to be like that much faster at? Like, if not, then you kind of have no choice. But yeah, I guess it kind of speaks differently to kind of like a community. Because, you know, I would think that a lot of stuff with puzzle games could have that community of like, it's about kind of that moment of figuring something out instead of the situation where somebody knows the puzzle and is like trying to make you feel bad for not knowing the puzzle. And I wonder if puzzle communities in general kind of diverge along both of those, because I guess I've seen that in very local scales.
Yeah,
Because, you know, I can think of, like, I mean, an excellent example would be, you know, those types of, like, word-based games that people would play on, like, bus trips in, like, middle school or stuff like that, where you've gone some trip. Maybe this was just my experience, but it'd be that moment. I think Black Magic was, like, one of the games where, like, kind of there was the specific trick about figuring it out, and, like, it was a big thing about, like, you not knowing it, but then, like, them trying to make everyone else who's figured it out make you feel bad about not knowing it.
yeah. I never really thought about this before today, but there might honestly just be a small population of viewers that watch puzzle games purely to browbeat people.
Yeah, right. I would definitely read it into not every single person watching it is feeling these things, but
oh, absolutely.
You can hear the most toxic elements loudest frequently.
Let's see. I just never really thought about somebody willingly putting themselves through that experience. Like, I know some people show up to, like, flex, but I never really thought about somebody that goes out of their way on a daily basis for this kind of behavior.
Because I'd wonder how often they're doing it knowingly. Because I can imagine a circumstance where there is a tendency to want to see someone else and how they approach something like that. And maybe you like seeing that frequently, and therefore you like are often seeking this out, but not thinking you're doing it just to belittle someone. But, you know, you got to call it as you see it is probably the way that you justify it. And then in the end, it winds up being exactly what you're describing. Yeah, no, I would wonder how much of a thing that is, because I could imagine it totally is a thing, and I'd be curious how often they recognize what they're doing as they're doing it.
We brought some tungsten with, right? Yes. Okay, so
What did we need tungsten for?
A couple of new things, actually.
Oh.
Let's
All these
see.
resources that aren't just like the basic thing every planet has are becoming more valuable.
Let's see. It's tall storage. That's
Should I be
not what
finding
I'm
more
looking for.
hematite, or is there something else I should be looking for here? I can look that up. I'll
Honestly,
look that up.
yeah, go for it.
What planet are we on, though? I didn't pay much attention to that.
Oh, hey, here's one. Maybe. Let me quick
Are we on
figure
Novus? It looks kind of like we're on Novus.
out. I
Is there a
think
way?
so?
Is there a way I
Let me
can just
check.
like figure that out?
Planets. We are on. Yeah, we're on Novus. Vesion
Okay.
is the moon
Sure,
that
and
keeps going by.
I can just tell by the coloration, but like, there's nothing that says this is what planet you're on somewhere, right?
I don't think so. Oh, wait, nope, never mind. I thought I saw something for a second. Anyway, I was gonna say a couple of things you could mess around with. We're gonna need a little bit more science to get the trade platform, but if you want to start pulling in salvage, that's something that we could do.
Okay. Well, it turns out that doing both of those things at the same time is perfectly compatible.
Because yeah, we can make a medium shredder real easy. I'm curious how much a bigger shredder would be, but I think we need... Oh, large shredder is tungsten carbide and iron, so that might be a little harder. I'm gonna grab the trade platform first.
Okay.
Or, no, I think we're gonna need the shredder first.
I mean, I'll take any excuse to keep doing science, right? So
Yeah,
if we need both, we'll get the science for both.